Hey everyone, and welcome back to another week of Shiggles. I am that guy Rickster,
Hi, Darian here, guys.
and let's get into it. How
How was your week? How are you? My name is.
I just said my name. My week was okay. I didn't work that much this week, so I was still coming off like the birthday vacation type thing. So the week was good
That's
overall.
nice.
Well, of course, like annoying shit happen at work, but you just once you leave work, you leave it there and don't take it home with you. But
Sort of thing, yeah.
yeah, especially like today was very annoying. But once I get home and I get into this bed, I forget whatever happened and it's out of sight, out of mind. How was your week? Oh, also, I'm
Um.
still somewhat sick. I don't know what this cold is taking forever to go away. It's really annoying me. Anyway,
Well, hi, hello. I live in New York City, where the temperature is 70, 80 degrees one day, like a nice summer, and then the next day is freezing cold, like Alaska. So, for someone whose allergies, I realize my allergies kind of evolved a bit.
yeah.
When I was a kid, it would have been triggered by anything. Um, Cologne, dust. Like when I say trigger, not just a sneeze, like a whole, like sneezing sort of thing for days.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's only triggered by a change in temperature. Um, and I think this happens to me every winter, every autumn, every spring since I've been here. When the temperature is fluctuating consistently like this,
Yeah.
yeah, it takes me a while for my nose to catch up, and then I always will be sick. So like that's going on right now, and I sound terrible, and I want to sniffle all the time.
Me
But
last week.
before, one of the first things I want to get into this week is the question, and I'm posing this question like, do you find attractive people intimidating?
No, not necessarily. I, d- I, no, I don't. I don't think I do. Do you?
Um, I used to think I did. Um,
I don't think I ever did.
Not used to. I think at one point of my life I did. But now that I
Why?
know but no longer do, I kind of realize why it happens to people. Based on the change in how I see it now. The reason
Mm-hmm.
why I ask the question is because like through having conversation with different people and stuff like that, people are like, "Oh, so like I was having this conversation with a friend and another friend and another friend, different people, and I was just saying that people generally don't approach me or talk to me or stuff like that. Of course, I have RBF, which
Resting
is
bitch
one
face.
thing, but
Same.
they're always like, oh, you're an attractive person, and then especially in America, you're tall. You're black, and then now you go to the gym, you have muscles, so it's like you have a lot of things that people consider attractive. So that might make them a bit apprehensive of approaching you per se. And I'm just like, that shouldn't. It kind of shows a little insecurity,
Yeah, like that's the thing, and I guess it's not only that, probably like a lack of confidence.
confidence too. Yes,
Yeah,
and I'm glad you said that.
because
Because when I go ahead.
I don't think I'm overly confident, nor do I think I'm overly attractive. I know I'm cute, but and it's not to sound conceited or cocky, but I've never seen someone who is conventionally hot and be like, "Oh, I could never talk to them. It's so intimidating." No, I can't. So most times I see people like that, I'm like, okay, just keep it
But
moving.
I get it because thinking about the times I used to think that, hey, I would be scared to talk to this person, I realized it was my own internal issues that I had.
Yeah.
So my issues of being insecure in the way I thought I look and, my confidence and all of that, that was a problem. Now that I'm no longer insecure and like I'm super confident, like nobody no look better than me. Sort of thing. And like, even it doesn't matter like how well you look, like I'll be just like, okay, you look good, I look good too.
Yeah, and I
What
think
else is going on?
once you have that mindset, you no longer find
Find.
conventionally attractive people intimidating. Because honestly, until you asked me this question, I never thought about it.
Because I
Because
never thought about it either, because like I realized it's something that came up a lot in the past year. Like, the more I meet people here and the more I have like conversation with people, and I'm like,
hmm
I'm not I know I'm not super approachable, but like when people started saying that, oh, because you're attractive and all of that, I'm just like, that's a thing. But then now I think about it, I realize that I used to look at certain people and be like, oh damn, they're definitely out of my league. And not out of my league per se, like what they have, like job, career, stuff like that, but how they look physically, how they appear
yeah,
physically. And I just realized that people who do that, it's all projection.
yeah.
They're projecting their insecurities and how they feel about themselves based on the situation. But once you're confident, nothing matters. It don't matter how pretty the person look, how attractive, how muscular. It's just like whatever. They're just very normal to you.
And as you mentioned the whole resting bitch face thing as well. I've gotten that from people over the years. They're like, "Oh, if I just see you sitting by yourself or walking around, like when I was in university or something, like you just don't seem approachable and blah blah blah." Because one thing, two things they always said to me is like, I walk with confidence, like my shoulders are back, my head is up, and I'm walking straight forward, like
Yes.
not looking around and stuff. They're like, you have this aura, this presence around you.
Hmm.
And deep down, I'm like, listen, I'm an introverted little person. I am trying to figure this out. I don't know why you feel intimidated talking to me. Just talk to me. And then when they do talk to me, they're like, I didn't think you would be this type of person, because they had this perspective of what they thought I would be like. And I'm like, I'm not that type of person, but thank you.
And again, we said this like a few episodes ago. Do not have perspective of what you think, or assumption of what you think
Yeah.
people would be like. Like, form your own, whatever. And I'm glad you brought that up because why did I lose my train of thoughts? What the
No
hell?
idea.
Tell me exactly what you said just now, because it's exactly what you said I was about to say.
People saying that I have like a certain aura or like
Okay,
a,
yes.
yeah.
The day I learned this, so for those of you who don't know, like when I was in my teens, like 19, 18, 20, 21, I used to model. And I remember the instructor, the runway instructor, taught it's something it's never left me. And I like when I get lessons like that where it sticks without you throughout life and you apply it to yourself. And then when you see it on other people, you're just like, yeah. And he said, you could be the most like introverted, shy person, whatever. But when you walk, you stand up straight, you put your shoulders back, and you
Yes.
hold your head up. You don't be looking down to the
And you
side, to the left,
step.
and you walk with confidence. That in
Yes.
itself is very intimidating to people. And it kind of makes sense because, like, if it is that like someone sees that you're very attractive and then you walk in with this energy and this confidence and like you hold your head high and like they can immediately tell that you hold yourself like to a high standard, people who aren't at that level will be
They're going
intimidated.
to feel
They will
intimidated
feel, like scared to talk to you.
because
and i
s- go
and
ahead,
I
finish.
realize that that's something that's very important. Confidence tells a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
confidence can open a lot of doors for you. Because sometimes I see people walking and like in my brain, I'm fixing them. I'm like, don't walk and hunch your shoulders and like you're
Don't
trying to
slouch
fold into
when you're
yourself. Don't
walking.
slow. Stand up straight, and walk with your head straight. And that in itself make people see you completely different and might be intimidated by you.
Don't let me have earphones in or headphones on when I'm walking, because best believe just how I say I walk, and and the funny thing, that's how I was always walk since I've known myself, that that's just my walk, right? And if I have earphones in, I'm listening to music. The world does not exist around me. Don't get me wrong. I am very aware of what's going on around me,
Yes,
but
yes,
the world does not
yes.
exist. It's just me, and I'm walking. Like that's my runway. But all that I remember when I was back in high school, I was at church one Saturday. And like at church you have like different, yeah, like the groups break off and stuff like that
Yeah.
whenever they have like, we used to call it like Sabbath school. So we had like different areas. So at that point, all the teenagers who were in high school would be in that class, and then they like go over the books and whatever. And I remember, I think it was like two or three of the girls who were in the group, and like two of the guys and stuff. But they were all talking about the week. They were talking about self esteem and all of these things. And I remember saying, because they were talking about how they feel self-esteem wise and whatever. And I remember thinking, I don't have those issues. And I don't know if it's how I was raised or whatever,
More than
but
likely how you were raised.
I've always had very high self-esteem. And I remember saying that to them, and they're like, they can't relate because their self-esteem, because they, and again they mentioned how when I come to church and I walk in, there's like a presence. When I walk in, it's almost like I command attention, and like that's not what I'm trying to do. But if it comes off that way, there's nothing I can do about that. But that's just, I've just always been that type of person. That's I've just, and to be honest, it's not even something that I'm aware that I do. It's just always been there.
And that's
So
why I
I don't
say
know.
like a lot of it comes from like projection, and it's almost like people are seeing what they wish they would have been like, and not just physically. It's just like the energy that you exude. And someone asked me this the other day, and I said, "Oh, I find you attractive, extremely attractive." And they're like, "What do you mean?" And I'm just like, "Physically, you look good, but of course, you're not the drop dead gorgeous." I didn't say that, but that's the thought process in my brain. Like physically, you good, but I'm the type of person like when I see you and I see the energy that you carry, like when you walk, you make your presence be known in a sense where it forces me to look, and it's not just how you look physically. It doesn't intimidate me per se, because for me it's super interesting, but I can see how someone who has a strong presence, um not only physically attractive but has a strong presence, and they walk with their head high, and like they're
Mm-hmm.
living in their own world, and you can just see that they don't care, they're just going about their motion and just having fun, how that can be intimidating to people. So
Yeah.
it makes sense to me. But as I said, like if you're someone who finds people like that attractive or stuff like that intimidating and all of that, you probably have some a little like self-reflection to do or something like that. So
And
that
trust
is
me,
something you
this
can look
self
into.
esteem thing goes a very long way and can change a lot. When you do the work and you find that self esteem within you, it changes. Like everything about you changes. Because no longer are you walking around and like trying to stick to the shadows, or as a friend of mine
And
once
people
said.
can see that.
Yeah. But people take notice of you.
The
Like this,
last thing I
oh, who's that? You know?
the last thing I want to say in regards to that is that it's a double-edged sword. When you have all that confidence, people take notice, but it's more likely like in a, it's an okay way. But when you try to hide within yourself and you try to, it's something I say a lot. Don't point out your insecurities to people. Most times people don't see, they don't care, all
People
of
don't
that.
notice.
You pointing it out kind of like put a target on it, and then people are like, yeah, I
Yep.
never noticed before, but now that you say, I notice. It's the same thing when you're in the street and you're walking and you're hiding with yourself, or like you walk into a room and like you're crouching down and like you're holding your head down, you're not looking left or right. People
People
notice these things
notice.
way more than if you just act normal and just like, whatever. So you have to, be careful how you present yourself there too.
Because a lot of the times, the things that we see that we're like, oh, I need to work on that.
People do
This
not
isn't
see.
right. People don't see it. They just see you. And then when you do point, like their response is like, for instance, I can talk about me. One of my issues, and I've said it to you, is the fact that my stomach is not as flat as it used to be.
Hmm.
Right? So when I mention that, people are like, you don't have a belly. what are you talking about? Where is it? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, it's there. You just need to chill. But I realize nobody really sees that. It's literally just me. And I'm not saying it's
All
in
in
my
your head.
head, but it's just something that I need to just work on. And clearly nobody else is seeing it, but for me, it's there.
I used to do it a lot. Now I don't even tell people what I'm insecure about.
Yeah, I don't do it anymore.
And well, of course, the gym has helped me a lot. But like, I feel also as if like I've just gained this superpower where like I do whatever, walk into whatever, and it's just like I'm here, bitch, sort of thing.
Accept me as I am or not at all. It's really interesting though. The psyche is a very interesting thing.
And the mind play tricks on people a lot too.
Oh yes, it really does.
But moving on,
Mm-hmm.
eagle
What's that
sounds,
face?
eagle sounds, gunshots,
uh,
people screaming. Just imagine the sound effects. But eagle sounds, America, child. America, America, America. With the election,
I mean, the
ugh,
people have spoken. They have
it's a
decided.
very it's a very loud voice, but it's also a voice I've heard before, or I kind of like I subconsciously knew, but like I expected better with my naive self. But
I didn't.
it shows a lot. The statistics shows a lot of why exactly this happened. Education is one. Racism is a huge one. Like this
Oh
probably at the top of the
yes,
list. Racism is a huge one.
misogyny is
Um,
another one.
Misogyny is another one. I don't think so much this time around. It's that much misogyny
Oh, it's
based on this
definitely mostly the race thing.
the race thing.
Yeah.
A lot is a race thing, because a lot of the times, like I listen to people like videos and podcasts and whatever, and people interviewing people. I haven't heard much of people saying because she's a woman. I've heard people talking about, oh, Trump is gonna economy, money this, money
Mm-hmm.
that, blah blah blah, and I'm just like, it's really sad, and it changed my perspective. I
I've
remember
heard so many people talking about this stimulus check. They're going to be getting more stimmies and whatever. And I'm like, you do know that was because of COVID.
the pandemic exactly.
Like
Um,
that's the reason why you got it.
and it really changed my perspective a lot when I look at people. And I said this to another friend that when I stepped outside that Wednesday, or it was Wednesday or Tuesday. The election was Monday, right?
Tuesday on my birthday.
So when I stepped outside the other
Just
day, the
anyway,
day
so like
after,
my birthday was important.
uh, happy birthday! You want a cookie? I don't know.
I would love that.
Um, but yeah, when I stepped outside the following day, everyone except the black people look like the enemy to me.
Mm. I can attest to that. Not well,
Everyone
they
except
all
black
looked
people look like
weird
the
to me.
enemy to me, and it's
Yeah.
like my brain changed so much because it's just like I know it's New York and it's more than likely not the case, but at the same time my brain, the way I saw different races and ethnic groups, it severely changed when I stepped outside.
The good thing is that you're in a blue state. Your state is still blue. My state, however, is bloody red, except for my county. My county is blue, but everything else is red. And I don't know how it is there, but here they are showing their asses. Case in point,
So
today at work, just want to get this off my chest. Today at work, checking in a guy. He's coming to see the doctor. I asked, "What is your name?" His response is Trump, Donald. Then he's going to be like, haha, just joking. I'm like,
that's not
okay,
funny.
all right. I don't know what you want me to say. It's almost like he was trying to get a reaction out of me. But
Reaction.
I kept it professional and I smiled. I was like, okay.
And for us educated people coming from like Caribbean countries, like where certain things like racism, like we don't really have it. So it's just like when it happens, you're just like, okay, this is what it is, but it doesn't hurt as much as they think it would be, as to like a Black American.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the
And we're
thing,
not
what I
as
looked
reactive.
reactive, because the thing I looked at when this happened was slavery. It will forever leave a stain on society, modern society today, that
Even though they're trying to say it didn't
it would just
happen.
never be it would just never be able to be removed. Because if you look at like a lot of other ethnic groups and races, like Asians and Latinos and stuff like that, the hatred for Black people and for Black skin color is all coming from slavery and colonization and all of that, and it's
Mm-hmm.
transferred and seeped and passed into the current generation. And there's a lot of self-hate, when especially in the Latino community, because I have this coworker where she showed me her boyfriend. The boyfriend's skin color is the same as mine. For those who know me, I'm a Black person. So I was like, "Oh, your boyfriend is Black." Oh no, he's not Black. He's not Black. He's not Black. So I'm looking at this Black person, like fully Black skin tone person. Oh, he's not Black. He's not Black. He's Latino. So I'm just like,
You do have black
so
Latinos,
so this was
girl.
the first time I saw anything like that when I moved here, and it kind of triggered me to do some research, because I've like seen people talk about it before, and he was Dominican, and I'm like, oh, Dominican have like a almost perfect half and half, half white, half black, sort of DNA. That's what make them up, and I'm like, okay, so technically Dominicans are black and white, and no, they just don't claim the black side at all, and
You know
they
what I don't
absolutely
get
hate it.
though? With them specifically Dominicans, I don't get. Yes, you're Dominican, that's your nationality. Your race is either you're Latino or you're black. You have
And
black Dominicans. But and if you ask any, no, I'm not black, I'm Dominican. Okay, okay. Sure.
it's kind of like it's disheartening from this election. It's disheartening because like I have a few Latino friends since I've been here, right. Of course I know they're not racist or stuff like that, because some of them are like born Latinos, born like second third generation, they were born to immigrant parents. But it's
Yeah.
so stupid that how much hatred, and I made a post about this on my my Instagram the other day, saying that nobody hates immigrants more than immigrants. And it's
Oh,
something
that's
that
so
I've
true.
seen. It's something I've seen a lot since I've been here. So for example, like I'm here, right? So I'm in the process getting my shit together, whatever. I'm still not there yet. I've met immigrants who've been here years before, 10 years, 9 years, 8 years, and the way they act towards you, you can tell is like them reach, and you're not there yet, so they don't really give a shit that much, but yeah, them really. And this happened through that election too.
And I'm like, we're all in the same boat because we're not from here. We all
We're all
immigrated here.
immigrants,
We're all
exactly. Whether you got
immigrants.
your papers or your citizenships or whatever,
And
and
in the eyes of the white man, we're all
you
the
are not
same.
white, exactly.
Exactly. No matter how
So,
white passing you are or how close you put yourself to whiteness, you're not white. So calm the fuck down, maybe.
and it's funny because I'm not the most patriotic person when it comes to talking about issues like this and race and stuff like that. But it was really disheartening to see that all the other minorities, and it made you stop and think as a Black person, visibly Black person. I had to stop and think that you're around people like this a lot.
And you don't
You're
know
on
who is
other,
who.
and you don't know who is who and how they think, and that's the reason why the
Oh,
way I
yes.
felt when I stepped outside the day, it felt like I was in a war zone and everybody don't like me, and
It
like I could not trust
honestly,
anybody except
it
actual
honestly
Black
makes you
people.
look at everybody differently.
Differently, I was taken aback, and I don't know, it was absolutely
You know
crazy.
how they say this is something I heard growing up because I was in church a lot. They're like, don't question God. There's a reason for everything. But when I woke up after the election, I couldn't help but ask why. Like, why do you allow things like this to happen? And then somebody said to me, "Well, I'm sure they questioned God during slavery, asking God why he's allowing this
For
to happen to
400
them.
years.
I'm sure during the Holocaust they asked God, why are you allowing this to happen to us?" And my question is still, why? Because I'm trying to see with everything that this man has said and his affiliates have said that they're planning to do, and everything that they have said for years now that they are going to do if he should get reelected. Why is he
And
there?
mind you
But
not, he
then,
has a lot more power now because
yes,
everything is not just the president, everything is red.
not
They
only
painted the
that,
town red, so
not only
everything
that,
is red.
Congress also gave
Is
him
red.
immunity.
Ah,
So whatever he does in office, there's no way for him to be punished for anything he does in office. So this man can go in there and do whatever the fuck he wants for the next 4 years. And nothing can be done when he leaves.
and then
If he leaves.
there was a huge argument between, because of course black people are always going to be mad, and rightfully so. They had a reason to be mad, and they were like, oh, um why are you blaming them? So these are the minorities responding, saying why they're blaming them, and you're like, open your eyes. Are you looking at the statistics?
The statistics prove it.
Because they're like,
That's
oh,
what
the
everyone is
white
looking
people.
at.
They were like, oh, the white people, the white people. I'm like, first of all, stop. White people are gonna do what we know they're going to do. That is not shocking that white people are voting for him. That is not shocking. Why would we be shocked that a white woman or a white man voted for him? That's not shocking. That's what they do. But
Exactly.
y'all, minorities, and it just shows the proximity that a lot of them try to get to white people, and they distance themselves from everywhere else. And that's,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was so annoyed. I'm just like, I don't ever want to think about the term people of color anymore, because they're not damn people of color. It's either
It
black
is
people or
literally
anybody.
black.
It's black people or everybody
Black
else.
people and everybody else. There we
Because if you
go.
look at this, the stats are showing in every state or everywhere black people are, the percentages are so high, 80%, 70%, ninety
Mm-hmm.
percent. But then when you look in the Latino and the other, 45, 50, like if those that 50% that voted for him like had voted with us too, this wouldn't have happened.
But
Especially in Florida with all them Cubans.
you would think they're the
And
biggest in Miami that you have the Cubans for Trump.
but you see, because
But
Cubans as Latinos, they look, some of them look very close to white people.
oh yeah, I
Some
know.
of them. And it's that passing thing that they use to kind of like side with the side that they think is better. But at the end of the day, honey, you're not white.
They
They don't
see
like
you
you
the same
either.
as everybody else. But I was listening to this other show and okay, I forgot what I was about to say, just like you forgot earlier. Anyway, continue to come back to me. It's just
And
very it's very
one thing,
sad.
it's sad. And one thing I thought about in the midst of that, not really unrelated but related as well, is just that you think to yourself, do I even want to do anything with anyone outside of black people, like even date anyone? And it kind
Right?
of no, it it kind of no opens my eye a little bit as to why African Americans see a lot of other races as non-existent when it comes to dating or sexual relations, because there's just this feeling of distrust. You really don't know, and a lot of them, they will never band with your side with you, but when it comes to sex and
They're
getting the
all
black
for it.
features and the big things and all of them things from black people, they're all for it. But to actually like commit, be in a relationship, support them when they have problems in situation like this, they're not going to do it.
Because one, they just don't understand it. And two, it doesn't affect them. So it's not something they have to
Allegedly it
deal
doesn't
with.
affect them.
Yeah.
And it's funny, and it's like everybody want to be niggas until it's time to band with the niggas.
Yes, you just remind me what they said on the other show was the what I was listening to. They say they've and it's true. Like looking throughout the history of this country, black people have always rose to the occasion and they do what they need to do. But then the other races, they don't really stand up for black people as much. But then we're out there for all the causes because we know we are at literally the bottom of the barrel. So this is,
and
if it affects you, it's affecting us even worse. So we're
and
always out there marching all of these things, but they don't show up for us.
and this is what this is going to this created like a huge racial divide, and rightfully so, because as you said, like black people, they're not just going to think about, oh, we're fighting for abortion rights and it's because it's women. They don't care, it's because it's women. We're fighting for rights to this and rights to that. None of the race, sexuality, none of that matters. Black people are just going to look at it like a collective umbrella. We're gathering up everybody who this is
Affecting.
affecting, and we're just going to work together. That is the mindset. But the mindset when it comes to other minorities is they're going to separate themselves from that, do their own thing, or do things that make them seem acceptable in the
Yep.
white person's
If
eyes.
it doesn't affect me, I don't need to be involved. That's how most
And
of them think.
that's how they think. And I see a lot of people complaining through this relationship that there's nothing called people of color. It's just black people against everybody else because nobody likes us. And when certain things start happening, when the deportations start happening and all of that, they just don't care. They're just
They
not
don't
going to
care.
care. Because
But
to be
here's the thing
honest,
though. If they think that if this deportation thing should start, it's not going to affect them, they have another thing coming.
yeah, because I'm seeing a lot of talks about people who naturalized into citizenship here,
Citizens.
like born to parents and stuff like that. They're at risk too.
They are because
They're
they're
trying
planning
to
to
get the
unnaturalize
denaturalization
neutralize
exactly.
people.
And
Yeah.
I was reading this history thing of the last time this happened, sometime in the 90s or whatever it happened, and they were just like, if the moment you even look like you're Latino or Mexican or something like that, even if you're born here, they're putting you on the truck.
Very
But
deep
this is a
sigh.
point. But this is a point, and it's I don't know. This is going to affect this country for future generations,
It is.
because if it's a case where something happens again, like 2021 or 2020, when the whole riots are a thing where everybody needs to band together, black people are not going to band together with nobody else, because nobody will forget this that happened this election.
And you know what the funny thing is? When black people aren't rising up, then they're going to be like, oh, they're just all for themselves. They only think about themselves. And we're like, but
Because if you don't stand up for me, I'm not writing
you
for you.
weren't standing
The
up for
hell?
us. So
And they
why
were
are we
like,
standing up for
then they,
you?
then they were like, oh, what about the black people that voted for him? They were like, well, the percentages are kind of low still, 13%, 10%.
They were low.
It's not that a huge 50.
And we're not saying you don't have black people who don't want to align themselves with whiteness. Of course, you have black
Of
people
course
who
it
want
do,
to do
but the
that.
percentage
But the percentages were low
is
compared to the
is
others.
really low, because
When you
every
look at the entirety, it was
of it,
low.
right, because I saw this thing today with New York. So you know how you can zoom in and see like the different breakdowns of how, just like you're saying
Yes.
your thing, entire Manhattan blue, not one speck of
Mm-hmm.
red.
Same. My county,
Blue,
just blue.
entire Manhattan blue, right? So then they were showing Brooklyn and Queens and stuff like that, and it was interesting to note that when I saw Brooklyn and I saw this huge red patch in Brooklyn, I immediately knew why. And as someone just kind of just moved here, I kind of have an understanding of where different people live in New York. There's a section of New York that's down in Brooklyn, closer like Coney Island. A lot of Russians and all them white people live down that side. Very red,
Yeah.
very red.
So of
And
course
when
they're
you
going
get
to
up
vote
to
red.
Flatbush and Bed-Stuy and Bushwick and all these places that the black people live, very blue.
Because in Staten Island was also red, I think. I think so. Yeah, Staten Island was red.
But I'm sorry, it put a taste in my mouth that I just don't view every. And I hate this because I'm a person that I don't really think like this, but I just don't view other
Yep.
races. I just can't trust them. I just don't know how to trust people that aren't black.
And the
I couldn't
thing
even trust
is,
black people in the first place. But living in this country, I just don't know how to trust people that aren't black. And I understand no a lot. I understand a lot of the ways why African Americans act the way that they act. Having to live through this your entire life, where
yeah,
you were born somewhere, you feel like you don't exist there. You feel like you're not important. You're at the bottom of
you
the
don't
barrel there.
belong.
That shit would make you angry and act the way that they act. And I'm not saying the way that they act is right, but it does speak to why certain people be
Volumes.
like, I won't even talk to my friends if they date a white guy, sort of thing. It makes sense.
That is so true.
Unfortunately, this is the world we live in.
Right? And I've been saying this and since Wednesday. We just have to hope for the best.
Hope for the
Because
best.
what else are we going to do? Just hope for the best. That's all we can do.
Yeah,
It's sad.
unfortunately. But we
But
move
on
on.
that note,
The lucky thing is for any immigrant that might be listening to this, or any person, well, most of well, whatever. But any immigrant, whether you have your citizenship or you don't have it, what if you be listening to this? My advice, the best thing to do right now, and I said this to a friend today, well, he's in Florida, who I said this to, if you're living in a sanctuary state, like New York or California, or I don't remember the other one, do not move. Now is not the time
yeah,
to move.
no, it's not the time.
Because these sanctuary states, I've already seen them try to push back or put certain things in places to ensure that a lot of laws cannot be changed when it comes to LGBT and immigration and stuff like that. Do not move.
Well,
Now is
that's
not the
good.
time to move to another state. It's even if they don't do something, I feel like you have a better chance if you stay somewhere that had a lot of laws that probably gonna take a lot more time to break down, as to if you move somewhere else. Because
But somewhere like
we don't know
here,
what's going to happen. Somewhere in Florida, run,
down south, anywhere,
run,
down Alabama,
run.
Mississippi,
Pack your
down
bags,
south,
run.
yeah, the Carolinas.
But anyways,
Yep. On
with that
that
said,
note,
sad note.
right? I didn't want to say sad, but we have come to the end of another episode of Shiggles. I have been that guy Rickster,
And this was Darian.
and we'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.